Hello and good afternoon, everyone. So thank you again for joining our free online lesson. So my name is Nabil Fikri, application engineer from MyCAD system. So for today's free online lesson, I would like to share with you about the design automations inside our Inventor, which is shaft and belt generator. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to use a design accelerator. So design accelerator allow you to create different type of power transmission, such as shaft, belts, and so on. But most of this free lesson today, we're going to focus on shaft and belts. So let's get started. Let me just show you the Inventor. All right. So for creating the shaft and belts generator, so you need to use assembly file. So currently I already have this assembly file here, and I already have this shaft already created. So we're going to use this shaft to connect to the other shaft by using the belt. So to do that, to add more shaft, to add more belt, you can go to the design tab over here. And then you can go into the power transition. Right, so if you're familiar with the design here, the design is where you can create your voltage connections, where you can create your frame generator. And for today's, we're going to take a look at shaft and also the belt. All right, so we start off with the shaft here. So I want to start with the shaft. I can just click at the shaft and I start creating the component generator from here. All right, so this is just example that I have here. And this is where you can configure what type of shape that you want your shaft to be. Right? So if you want to add some more, or maybe you want to remove some more, so I can just click at one of these, I can remove, so it will be removed. So if I want to reset back everything to default, so there are eraser button over here, which is allowing you to calculate the data. So it will switch back to the default. Right? So if you first time opening the shaft, so this is basically the default shape that's going to give. All right, so for my case, I don't want to use this actually. So what I want to do is that I want to add the custom shaft that I already created. So if you already create your own custom shaft, you can go to the save here, and it will save as XML file. For my case, I already saved and I want to import back, so I can go and open up this location here. So then I can select this XML file. So when I open, so it will create the shaft that I have created previously, right? That I have saved. So to create your design here, so the first step here, we have the design. So this is where you can add and customize your shape. The second tab, we have calculation. So this is where you can calculate your the load of your shaft, and you want to see what type of result, what type of loads that it will be bring, what type of mass. Right, so you can add material if you want to. Right, maybe I add some aluminum alloy, and then this is where you can add your loads and supports. So to add that, maybe I pick at this location here. Maybe I want to add the continuous loads. So it will put this continuous load over here, and then I can put the load here if I want to. So this is the part for the calculation is not mandatory, right? Not actually required, but this is just easy for you to identify your design early process. Right? So maybe I pick at the end here, then you can add exit loads, 1 point also. I press OK. So once I'm done, I can select calculate. So it will calculate the result here. Right. So this is the calculation, and it will give you result for the number. You can also check at the graph, so you will able to see much clearly the result that has been shown. Right. So that is just some calculation things that you can check beforehand. So you can go back to the design here. So I already have my design created here. So I'm just gonna press OK. and I have my shaft over here has been created. Right, so I can just click, and I can use normal assembly. Maybe add some normal constraint here, just to basically attach my shaft inside of this area here. Right, so that is just some few. That's just the start of our process here. So let me make our view much clearly. Let me just open up edges. All right, so go back to design. So we already add our first. So right now we're going to create a new shaft starting from the beginning. So on how I'm just going to explain how we can customize your shaft based on the selection method here. So first of all, I'm going to delete everything that we have from here. Let me just set back everything to default. And I'm just going to delete everything. So we start first with this chunky block metal here. So let me just select. So I can just select and press OK. So if I want to, but I can also specify the locations early on. So at the placement here, I can select cylindrical face. So I can select the placement over here. I can select the second one is the face, and the third one is the other face for the orientation. So it will automatically put you into the location of the hole that you want to put. Right, so for the start first, maybe you want to check or edit the size. So the size you can edit from the button panel over here. So if I go closely, so we have this arrow which allowing you to increase or decrease the size for your shaft. So alternatively, you can also change at this value here. So if I want to change the diameter, so I can just pick over here, or length, I can also click to adjust and increase the length, or I can just directly click at the section. So I can just double click. Right, so maybe the diameter it should be okay already. Maybe I want to reduce length, let's say around 1. Okay, so 1 is sufficient. And let me just put it somewhere at the center. And the next one that I would like to add here is the other cylinder. To add more cylinder, you can find from here. So we have the insert cylinder, split sections, we have cone. Maybe I want to add cone, so I can add cone here. If I want to add the polygon, so I can add polygon. But you can also just select one of these items, and then you can also change from here as well. So either you select any item, or you can just pick one, and then from here you can just edit. Maybe it should be a cone instead, or maybe it should be a polygon. We can just change the size from. Right, so we pick cone, then we can increase or decrease. Let me just increase the size. So if I double click to change on the cone size here, so the first one is actually connected to the first shaft rod. So it is locked, it will follow the dimension. So if I want to override it, so I can just unlock this value, and I can change to different value, maybe 2.5 for example. Alright, so it becomes like larger. So this one is obviously way too large. So I'm just going to make it, let's say 2.5. And the back here, I'm just going to reduce till 1.75, something like that. Okay. Okay, I believe this one should be more. So we just select 2.25. But again, I can just change the length if I want to, but I'm just gonna leave it as this. So if I want to add some more, so I can add more, or I can just directly select the polygon here. So I add polygon back. So you don't see polygon yet, but once you have entered, so the polygon should have been created. So the diameter here, I'm going to leave it as 2. And maybe I want to have each side of polygon. So this is the certain things that we can basically edit from. Right, maybe I want to add more length at the back here, so I can just change that. So let's say I want to add something at the front here. So if I pick here, so if I add another one, so it will add at the back. Right. So in this case, I can just drag it up until to the top. So I move somewhere around here. So I still have this at the end, which is this one. So I'm going to drag downward instead. So we have something like this. And the next thing is I just need to readjust the position of this. So that is just symmetrical rod that you can add. So other things that you can edit from here is that if I take a look over here, I can also add a chamfer or maybe fillets at the end. So I can just select here. Okay, it's actually fillet from here. So the reason why I cannot add some more because it's actually right over here and it's way too small. So let me just increase the diameter, let's say around 2.5. So if I click here, so it will add at the end, say chamfer, so it will add chamfer at the end. So I want to have chamfer on this side as well. So I can select the other chamfer right here. So once I'm done, so it will create that chamfer at the left and right. Right. So other things that I can add here, let's say I want to add something like a groove or maybe a cut ring. So to edit back your shaft, again, you can just right click at your shaft. Then you can select edit using design accelerator. So you can also edit normally. So Inventor does allow you to edit using normal manual method using 3D model. But if you want to continue to edit using the design accelerator, so you can just right click and select using design accelerator. Right, okay, just click design accelerator. So I want to add some more at the front here. So we already covered 3 of these. And one another things that we have at the back here is that we can add additional setup. So maybe I want to add a retaining ring. So you can see we have a ring over here, right? So this ring, you can also adjust the position of this ring if you want to. And I can add some more. Let's say I add another ring, not another ring, add another, let's say, keyway groove. So add the groove here. So for the keyways for you to enter between the shaft to the gear, or maybe the shaft to the belt, right? And you can change the setting from here. You can see we have a few additional add-on. So if you want to edit the size of this, you can also do that. You can just double click and you can edit the size or location for the additional setup that you have added. Okay. So this is basically a sections. Another thing is that you can also cut a hole inside. Right? So if I drop down at the section here, I have bore, so I can add bore. Okay. So maybe on the left side or maybe on the right side. So if I pick at the right side, and I can click at the cylindrical bore, and then you can see it will add the hole for the bore here. Right? So let me just reduce it somewhere, some more, and I add another bore. So once I'm done, you will have a full bore inside. You have the retaining ring and also the groove at the bottom here. Right, so if I want to, I can also rotate to make sure that it's actually at the top instead. Right, so for some reason, it's still it is actually shown at the top, but once you have done it, it's somehow become wrong angle. Right, so for this case, I'm just going to flip it so it should be at the top somewhere. So that is the shaft. So the next power transmissions that we have is the belt. So belt, we have a few type of belts. We have V belts, right? So where your rubber belt become a V shape like this, or maybe the synchronous belt with the belt has some teeth, or maybe you just want to have a roller change. So the settings that we have over here is actually similar. So we have the belt or change selection. You have the sprockets, or for the belt, it's actually called the pulley, right? So with the belts, it's actually tops, and then you have pulley at the bottom. So for this case, I'm just going to use a V belts, right? So basically the same. So the top we have a selection of belts, so you can drop down, select what type of belt that you want. I'm just going to leave it as a default. And the first thing that you want to do is that you need to specify the location of your belt. Right, so you need to specify the mid plane of surfaces. So I'm going to select these surfaces. So it put somewhere at the middle here, but this is not the middle that you want. So you can use this gizmo to move it out. And now we have this belt that we actually created. So we have this position. So if I change the direction, so it will change the value from here, or maybe I just start it manually. So it becomes something like this. Right, so maybe I want to make it slightly above. So other things that I can add from here is that I can also add a number of belts. So for the other belts, we don't have number of belt, but for the V belt, so I can add, let's say, 2 belts. So we have 2 belts, maybe 3 belts. Right, maybe I want to add 2, so just leave it as 2. So put somewhere around here. So I may need to make some adjustment over here. So let me just press OK first. And for the shaft here, oops, I need to edit using design. So just you can click any segment you want. So for this case, I'm going to click at this segment. So here, and then just move this back a little bit. And the ring here, ring maybe I put somewhere on the back, or I can just simply just remove this ring. Right. Right, so let's take a look back at our belt. So again, right click and I can edit using Design Accelerator. So that is the belt selection. We also have pulley down here, but before that, for the belt, we also have a calculations. So you can calculate and it will also give you a result and recommendations. If there's anything wrong, it will tell you. Right? For example, if I put 1 HP of horsepower, so based on the design, is this actually acceptable? So if I calculate, so this is actually compliance, acceptable. So maybe I put around 10 horsepower. Now we have some problem here. So I may need to change my belts. Maybe I need to increase the size of the pulley or the thickness of the belt. So there are some of the things that I can change. So again, this is also additional things that you can add. So for this case, I'm just gonna leave it back to the design here. So we already take a look at the belt. So take a look at the pulley. So we have the first pulley here, and then we have the second one. So the first one, we can select, and then we have 3 different type of selection here. One is the component. The component will show you the actual physical component of this. So if I pick existing, so you cannot see anything because it's assuming that you have an existing, so you need to find the existing. For example, if I have like this, so again, I can pick this one. But for this case, we don't have existing over here. Down here is the virtual. So virtual is something like a component, but you will not be able to see like the existing one, right? So if you want to put, but you don't want to put a pulley, then you can just pick which one. For this case, I'm just going to leave as a component. And then here is where you can specify the location of your pulley. So if I pick fixed positions, so it gives you the gizmo here, allowing you to specify the direction of this pulley. So let's take a look at other options. So we have the fixed position. So if you have cylindrical, then you can pick the fixed positions. So we also have others, which we'll take a look later on. But for this case, I'm just going to put right here. And for this case, this one I also will pick as fixed positions, which is at the top here. So to edit your pulley, so you can go at the downward arrow here. So this will give you the list of type of pulley that you want. So if you want to pick a flat, maybe a groove that we see here. So if a flat, we will not be able to see the groove. So it will become flat like this. But for this case, I'm just going to leave it as a groove. So to change the size, you can click at the pulley properties from here. So this is where you can change the diameter or maybe how many teeth that you want. How many angles of the pulley that you want. So maybe I make the pulley slightly larger, of 4 diameter. So does it change? I cannot see the change. So okay, maybe it does not change automatic from here. But when I press OK, let me just turn off the custom. So when I press OK, right, so it should be able to change. But again, you can also use this arrow. So if I pick here, so I can use this arrow to manually change the size if I want to. Right. So to add more pulley, then you can click to add pulley from here. So if I click add pulley, so I can specify. So if I have existing pulley, again, I can just pick here, but for this case, I don't have. So let me just pick groove. And I want to put at this location, but for this case, I'm not going to put specifically at this shaft here. So what I want to do is that I want to put somewhere at this path location, right, at this path, because I want to assume that it can move between this path. So for this case, I need to add some faces or outline, right? So let me just edit this one. And I'm just going to add some plane so that I can put at this location. Right, so just to put at this center. Okay, I think this shaft is, for some reason, it's not putting right. Right, never mind. So we're not going to put at the shaft, we're just going to put at this path. Right, so the B belt here, let me just edit using straight again. So this one, so we're going to put at this path. So we have 3 different type of path that you can select. One is the free sliding. So if I click free sliding, so I can move anywhere, and you will see that it will allow you to slide anywhere. Right. So this is free slide. So I have the rotations. So this one allow you to rotate, but we don't have the rotation, and we want to have a sliding position, right? So I want to follow this face here. So I will select slide, and I will select this face here, and it will move, allowing you to move according to this face. Right, so this is the location is actually correct already. So just okay. Yeah, I think I need to edit a little bit, just make sure that it is put inside. Okay, or can just let me just change the line. Can I change the line? Okay, never mind. For this case, I'm just going to leave it as this. So, right, so that is how you can create the the shaft and the belt. Now, at the shaft, we already add a groove here for the keyway. So let's say I want to add a hole for example, if I try to isolate this one, you will see there are no holes inside, even though it's supposed to be connecting to the shaft. So to do that, you can manually edit if you want to. So I can open up and then select this groove pulley, and then I can edit the pulley from here using the 3D models to cut, or I can also use the design power distribution, the keyway here. So let me just undo oscillations. Undo oscillations. All right, the key. All right, so let me just pick the key. So for the key here is where we can put the hollow here. So we have this shaft groove. You can select to create a new, or you can also select existing. So since we already have a hole for the groove, so I'm going to select the existing, and I can specify this is the groove that I want to put, and then I can specify the reference. The reference will be this cylindrical here. It will be this face here, and the orientation will be, I believe, is already correct. And then I need to specify for the hub groove, which is for my pulley. So previously we select for the shaft, and then will be the pulley. Or if you use gear, there will be gear. So I'm selecting this pulley, and then for the pulley diameters, and then I can just press OK. But before that, you can also calculate if you want to. So again, this one also have a calculations, and it will give you explanation whether it is compliance or not. So same again, you can just specify and calculate. From here, you can select whether you want to add the key. Maybe you don't want to see the key. So there are some additional things that you can specify from here. So for my case, I want the key. So I'm going to press OK. So it should cut the pulley here. So if I isolate, then you will see that the hole already been created for me. So let me just undo isolations, and it will also add a key here. And if I want to add another one, will be this one. So I can add shaft. Oh, sorry, not shaft, the key. I can add a key. And for this case, I'm going to select new, right? So new one, and then I will specify for the reference will be this cylindrical here and this face here, right? And then it will create the groove and the key for us. So again, same things. Second one will be this pulley here. So you see, it will create the hole for you, and you add the key, the hook graph. So when I press OK, so it will automatically create for you. So whether you want to put it early on using the shaft groove, or you can just leave it out first, and then you can add later on using the key. So that is the belts, right? So let's add another belt just to show you that it's actually quite similar. So for this synchronized belt, I think I need to edit a little bit just to make it out. So now here. Now let's say I want to add a connection between the shaft to the existing pulley. So you can add, say this time I want to select a synchronized belt. So synchronized belts, again, you can just select from here. Then I need to specify the midplane, which is this one. Then I need to move it out a little bit. And then I can start to specify the location of my pulley that I want. So the first one, the first one here is that I want to choose an existing because we already have. So I'm choosing this one, so that you automatically selecting from here. I believe I select the wrong one. Let me just select this one. Then I can select here. Then I can add to this component. Right, so basically the same process that we done using the V belts is actually the same with the synchronized belt. All right, so I believe I have some question. So do you have a flat belt features? Okay, so for the belt flat belt, okay, I'm not sure it is provided or not, because for the V is actually for the V here, and for the synchronized belts, even though it's shown as a flat belt, it's actually not a flat belt. It's actually have a key here. Same goes with the V belt here. So for the flat one, I believe that one need to create manually. So if you want to, you can still using this same method, to create the pulley if you want to. But for the belt, you can just create manually. From here, I believe it does not provide. So there are no flat one that provide. So for the flat one, I believe you need to create that menu. Right, so I believe that is all from me. So since there are questions, is there any other question that you guys would like to ask before we end? All right, so I believe no more questions. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for your question. So I hope I can see you guys on our next screen lessons. So I guess we can stop here. So have a nice day and bye-bye.